to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Imaging Services, Chiro Thin, Chiro Moguls, Mahalo Wellness, Chiro Health USA, The Goodman Factor, Chiropractic Rocks, Winner's Edge, Chiro Tax Pro, and Digital Hustle. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 193 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I am your co-host, It's Not Over Till I Win, Luke Millette, and here's your host, Gotta Be Hungry, Jim Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Miss Mamie Brown's baby boy and the living legend, Mr. Les Brown. I almost said doctor, but it was such an honor to have Les on our show today. And if you want to learn how to not have your best day ever, but make it your best day always, stay tuned.
He's a doctor of transformation.
All right. So welcome to the Chiro Hustle podcast. We have Mr. Les Brown with his Miss Mamie's baby boy, the living legend. And I know that you just came out with a new book called You Gotta Be Hungry. And we're really blessed to have you here today and honored to have you here as our guest today. Welcome to our show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on the show and to be able to spend time with you, and want to congratulate you for the great work that you've been doing to enlighten people, to inspire them, and to help the profession of chiropractors who are making an incredible impact on people's lives, have had great impact in my life. And so I'm just really appreciative of being able to spend some time to talk with you.
Yeah, it's an honor for us, honestly. We've been watching you for a long time and seen your videos and never met you in person, which I hope we get to someday, and never seen you speak in person, which I hope we get to someday. And I know one of the things that we want to discuss with you is the situation that we're all going through right now, and whether we want to call it a pandemic or a plandemic. What we've noticed also is you've been busier than ever. You've been doing 5 to 6 episodes of media releases a week, doing podcasts, doing interviews. And what do you do to inspire yourself, and how do you stay so motivated during these times?
Well, one of the most important things that we have to face the reality is something that Viktor Frankl said, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning. He said, life is full of unavoidable suffering. You either in some stuff or just left some stuff, or you headed towards something. Okay. And as Forrest Gump said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. That's all I'm going to say about that. Well, what you have to do is have a program for yourself, because things are going to happen. And this place where we are is very strange. We've never seen anything like this. And here's the other part of it. It just keeps on happening. I mean, one thing after another, politically, spiritually, religiously, the economy, the fear of being next to somebody and it might cost you your life, a fear of being around crowds. I was upstairs in my room after looking at several hours of television, like nobody was here but me. I sneezed and I ran out the room. And then I said, wait a minute, that was my sneeze. I came back and got me some Lysol out of the bathroom, and I started spraying anyhow. Zig Ziglar said something that's very important. See, a lot of people are really consumed with fear. He said, when there's widespread fear, the majority of people, they forget everything and run. But there's a certain number of people, they face everything and rise. And that's what you have to do in this kind of time. I remember when I was in the Ohio legislature, chiropractors did not have the level of respect that they have now in the medical profession, because people primarily believed in cut it out, drug it out, or burn it out. And so because of my personal experience with chiropractic practices, I fought for legislation dealing in that area that will allow them to have the level of recognition and credibility that they deserve. And the only way it happened was the determination and drive of people fighting for it. that this thing called life, the quote I love very much, that life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. And so this is a time where Benjamin Franklin said, until those who are unaffected, as outraged as those who are affected, things will never change. And so I think that the allies and the expansiveness of what's going on right now, there's a reckoning going on in America, and that there are people now, because of technology, because of the iPhone and the various other phones, that people can see terroristic, murderous behavior real time on behalf of law enforcement. And that is frightening and scary. And people are saying, whoa, I had no idea. And evil prevails when good men and women do nothing. And so this is a time that there are people who are saying, I want to become involved. I want my voice to be a voice of change. My goal is to create a better world than what we now have. And so there's something wrong when a guy gets shot 7 times in the back and his children are in the car. He had not committed a crime. And the cops say, well, he told us he had a knife in the car and he's going to go get it. That, you're talking about a limp lie. I mean, come on. Come on. Who's going to say to the police, oh, by the way, I got a knife in the car. Oh, well, 5 of y'all, okay, let me go get my knife out of the car. Who's going to do that? I just hate to think about the number of people of color who've gone to jail, who've had their lives taken, and no consequences, because cops can be judge, jury, and executioners. And as a result, that if you're a person of color, you feel very fearful when you leave the house. You know, and if you have children, you're afraid for them. You coach them, and here's what happens if you get stopped by the police, and there's still no guarantee. And so it's a challenging time. We're in the midst of it, this reckoning, and in the midst of a surgery, it looks like a murder, but on the other side, there's a healing. So we must be patient and persistent and persevere in order to get to where we need to be as a country.
As I listen to what you share, I spent a lot of time watching some of the motivation that you've inspired others with over time. And I know that we can't pivot away from the realities that we're involved with right now. I know that there's injustice that's spread widely, and, you know, there's a lot of fear. And, you know, I know that there's this one African proverb that you like to share in your talks, and you talk about how if there's not an enemy within us, then the one outside of us can't harm us. And I think that that's, you know, more important now than ever to talk about, because I do think that the enemy within us is if we have self-sabotage and if we have poor self-talk and poor self-esteem, then it's going to be easier for us to become infringed upon by sensationalism in media as well. And, you know, as I've come to realize, your favorite number is number 7, and that's a very biblical number. And I know that, you know, as we get into this interview, I'm going to ask you a little bit about some of your biblical stance and maybe some of your motivations around that. But maybe share with our audience a little bit of some other like inspirational mantras or quotes that you live by that help you get through time to time.
When I get up in the morning, the first thing I say is, all things work together for good for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose. I believe that we were not born to work for a living, but to live our making. And living our making will make our living. And that Mark Twain had a point. He said the 2 most important days in your life, the day that you're born and the day that you realize why you were born. And I believe that I was born to do this work that I do, to motivate and inspire people. and to make people feel good, to make them laugh, to challenge them, to expand their vision of themselves and the possibilities. And in the midst of that, also how to handle and navigate the crises of life, like what we're going through right now. Crises, as you are aware, in the Chinese language means danger, but it also means opportunity. So there's a great deal of opportunity that's going to come out of this. This I see as a cocoon. And no matter how fast and how many legs a caterpillar has, it cannot run. So when it goes in a cocoon, it's not in there watching CNN or MSNBC. It's working to transform. And this is a time, my daughter, Dr. Ona Brown, said gaps are from God. This is a time for us to use this time to reflect on how we've been showing up in life individually, as a society, as a country, and to look at who we want to be in the future. Something that Earl Nightingale said, he said that you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. And when I wrote my book called Live Your Dreams, I said there are winners and there are losers, and there are winners who have not discovered how to win. And I think that we should look for ways in which, what is it going to take for us to become who we need to be, to operate as our highest self, to begin to get out of our head and to get into our greatness. And sometimes you've got to be open to getting some help. I believe ask for help, not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong, and ask for help and don't stop until you get it. I got some help to find this Les Brown. I did not know this Les Brown existed because of my background, because of my experience, born in an abandoned building on a floor in a poor section of Miami, Florida, being adopted, first a foster kid, failing in the fifth grade, put back from the fifth grade to the fourth grade, and failing in the eighth grade and labeled educable, mentally retarded. Those experiences, there are some things that happen to you, but there's some things that happen for you that I had no idea that all of those experiences I had would help to introduce me to this part of myself that I did not know. And in order to get to that part that I feel that all of us have within us, greatness, and most of us never reach it because of the fact that we end up taking it to our graves, because we live in a world where we're told more about our limitation rather than our potential. And at different points in our lives, I believe that we need mentors, just like what you do with your program. People who listen to you and the commitment that you made to serve chiropractors, that how people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. So when you come on and you speak, that you distract, dispute, and inspire. You distract people from their current mindset and belief. And you create an experience with your interviews, with your information, and those who listen and come through this journey with you on this program, operating within the mission of your broadcast, is to expand their vision beyond their mental conditioning and circumstances, and allow them to see a different light, a different future for themselves. The Book of Life says, I'll give you all your eyes can see. I remember when chiropractic profession was just dismissed, but there were some people said, oh, no, this is serious. We provide a service for people. You're not going to just dismiss us. You're going to show us respect.
Amen.
And we earn it. And so that's how I became familiar with it. And that was not easy. That was national. I was a state legislator in Columbus, Ohio at the time. But that was a national movement. And we had to fight tooth and nail to get certain legislation changed and to amend certain things. And power gives up nothing without a demand. your traditional doctors who believe just in cut it out, drug it out, or burn it out, they were vehemently opposed to that and dismissed chiropractic practices. But there were others say, oh no, we're taking a stand. We're not going anywhere. I have a saying when I was a disc jockey, stand up for what you believe in because you can fall for anything. This is a fight up in here, up in here. So bring the popcorn because we are going to be respected. We're going to be acknowledged, and we're going to be able to provide the service that we provide that help people.
Amen.
Well, I just wanted to let you know that your words and your teachings have had a huge impact on my life, and you've definitely helped me find the greatness within myself. And I wanted to thank you for that, first and foremost.
Thank you.
And secondly, 2020, we're getting to the end of the year. What are some things that you're working on? What are you excited about? You have a New York Times best-selling book coming out, or it's out already. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and how can we help you with it?
Well, I've been praying to God, and I sleep with the Bible, the Holy Quran, and the Kabbalah to eliminate 2020. And if we could just eliminate 2020 and skip over to 2021, I would be most appreciative. See, we have not because we ask not. So I'm asking every day, tell me this is a dream. Tell me this is a dream. Please, please, Lord. And I'll increase my tithes 35%. But it took me 21 years to finish this book, You've Got to Be Hungry, The Greatness Within to Win. And the reason is I wanted to be able to connect with people that's going through some tough times and let them know that it's not the end of the road. When you think about 50 million people losing their jobs, and millions of people whose businesses are going under. And so that these people need to know that they are greater than anything that they're going through. I never forget when I was in a new territory, strange territory. Dr. Alfred Golson, an oncologist at Harvard University, and he said, Mr. Brown, you have fourth stage cancer, fourth stage prostate cancer. Your PSA is 2,400. So I said, what does that mean? He said, 1 to 4 is normal. And I said, fourth stage? He said, yes. I said, can I get a second opinion? He said, yes. He said, and you're ugly too. I said, you didn't just call me ugly. You did not go there. You did not call me ugly, did you? He said, yes, you're ugly. And we both laughed. He said, but you got this. We determine the diagnosis. You and God determines the prognosis. I don't tell patients they're terminally ill. I say that my knowledge, my abilities, and my skills to help you has terminated. Now you need to explore some other options. Now it's 27 years ago. And so that as we look at ourselves, look at our goals and dreams, I wanted to provide a book that would do basically three things, a variety of things, but three things that it focuses on. Number one, mental resiliency. That to get through with what we are going through right now, where there's a time when somebody sneezed, we would say, God bless you, but now we backing up and say, you know what? You need to put something over your face, boy. I'm about to knock you out. Okay, look at. And so this is a different kind of place. And so you have to have mental resolve and a determination, and you have to have a program for your mind, reading 20 to 30 words of something positive every day, and listening to something that can inspire you and expand your mind and feed your faith and allow your doubts to starve to death. And so when I get up in the morning, I say, all things work together for good for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose. And then I say, Lord, whatever I face today, together, you and I can handle it. And then I write down my gratitude list. And I encourage people, turn off the television, because it will compromise your power. There's a saying, garbage in, garbage out. No, garbage in, garbage stays, and it stinks, and it shows up in your attitude and your behavior. And so this is a time where people have to protect their minds and fortify their minds and come up with a game plan that they can implement, a ritual where they're programming themselves every day. We can't control the thoughts that come in our minds, but we can control the thoughts that we dwell on. And that's major, because if we don't, our minds will be programmed. Over 5,000 advertising hits on the news and television, on the computer, that's seeking mind space. This is a time that attention is the greatest currency. And what I mean by that, the people that will get customers, the people whose businesses are going to grow, the people that are going to soar to new heights. There are three types of people. There are millionaires that are going to come out of this, billionaires that are going to come out of this, and witnesses that come out of this. Now, so your program is designed for a person to decide, with their practice, with their skills, with their vision of themselves, and their mindset, that they have decided what's going on is not going to define me. They're going to operate out of the thinking of Elsie Robinson, who said, things may happen around you, things may happen to you, but the only things that really count are the things that happen in you. That's the stuff that we can control. And so when you are focused, because where focus goes, energy flows. And when you have disruptions, you don't have the luxury of focusing on all the negative stuff, because it will begin to amplify in your mind. And it is not easy. I want to make that clear. It's not easy. And so, but you have to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to keep the main thing, because whatever is going on, and there will always be some stuff happening, you are stronger than that. Lion King, Simba, you are more than that which you have become. And so we have to be reminded, faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. And so there are people whose practices have closed up. But guess what? It's not the end of the world. If you woke up this morning and there's not a chalk outline around your body, it's the best day of your life. You still here. You got another shot. That's what I'm talking about. Up and here, up and here. And the ones who will snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, they got to be hungry. People that are hungry, believe, always strive to get on top in life, because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. People that are hungry, believe, take no prisoners and eat the wounded. And so this is a great time. It's the best of times and the worst of times. And we will get through this victoriously.
Absolutely. So the book is called You Gotta Be Hungry. Where can people buy it if they want to buy 1 or 10 copies?
They can go to IamHungryLesBrown.com with your little funny haircut. IamHungryLesBrown.com. That's how they can order it. IamHungryLesBrown.com. And what they're going to find, 1, they're more powerful than they realize. 2, that you have to be mindful and handle the things that happen to you or the people that you care about, and don't jump to the conclusion that this is it, this is the end of the road, or I can't handle this. We are stronger than we give ourselves credit for. Most of us don't know enough about ourselves to be a cynic. I did not do what I'm doing now for 14 years. Because I figured, I don't have a college education. I never worked for a major corporation. I was labeled educable, mentally retarded, put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade, fell again in the 8th grade. So I didn't think that I can do what I'm doing now. And then someone, Mr. Leroy Washington, young man, someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. Someone interrupted my vision of myself. and expanded what was possible for me because I was suffering from possibility blindness. All of us at different points in our lives are in a position where we need to believe in somebody's belief in us until our belief kicks in. And so I learned from him that you have to really work on yourself continuously, because life is going to be relentless of what is going to throw at you. And you have to continue to increase your skill set. That being one-dimensional, it does not work. This is the era, what the late Peter Drucker calls the era of the 3 C's: accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition. So always looking for ways in which you can make yourself stand out. The new currency is attention. Drawing attention to yourself, that's number one. Number two, to keep the attention, to hold the attention, and to monetize that attention by creating an experience for your customers, and to direct the attention of what it is you want them to do. There's a saying, you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. However, if you know how effectively communicate and tell your story, I have a training that I do with chiropractors that I'm planning on doing sometime this year virtually. People are always asking, who are you? What do you have? And why should I care? And the people who can tell their story will create a bonding, a connectedness, and credibility, and will allow them to make themselves stand out in the marketplace. Is the old saying, you take a horse to the water, you can't make him drink. But if you know how to communicate effectively and create an experience, you create a thirst where they want to drink. And that's what the most successful chiropractors have done, that their ability to communicate, how you present yourself, that presentation power, and how you operate with your practice. I spoke to around 5,000 chiropractors in Vegas a few years ago, and my speech was, align yourself.
You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Imaging Services, ChiroThin, Chiro Moguls, Mahalo Wellness, Chiro Health USA, The Goodman Factor, Chiropractic Rocks, Winner's Edge, Chiro Tax Pro, and Digital Hustle. Let's hustle.
And the reason I went down that path is because you were in the business of helping people be aligned, creating alignments. And I said, you have to align yourself with your staff, with your patients, and with your strategy on the experience that you create for the customers, so that you get repeat business and referral business, and it enhances your ability to communicate. It enhances your level of credibility and allow you to begin to expand and soar to new heights.
It's brilliant listening to you. I can't tell you the countless hours I've spent just listening to you. And now being able to have the opportunity of having this interview with you is, a career achievement for me personally. And, many times people are mentored by you and they've never met you before. And I know that that's probably something that you hear quite often, right?
Yes, because people have mentored me that I never met. So I understand, yes.
And to transform yourself into who you become and to get over those limiting self-beliefs, who are some of your mentors that maybe gave you the confidence to say, I can, I will, I must, I am, and I'm going to do this because I'm hungry?
Mike Williams, he wrote a book called The Road to Your Best Stuff. I wrote the foreword for it. Mike Williams, The Road to Your Best Stuff. I was in a radio station. I was the program director. He was my news guy. And I just came from a motivational event. And there was Wayne Dyer Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, and Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, all the veterans. And he said, you know why you go see these guys all the time? I said, yes, because I like their message. No, not just that. He said, you like to help people. You like to inspire people. You're always holding court around the water fountain, and you got a funny laugh. You make us all laugh here. He said, that's who you are. And he said, let me share with you why I'm sharing this with you. I said, why? He said, you know why Bert Charles, the general manager, gives you so much hell? And I said, he doesn't like me? Yeah, he doesn't like you. But it's more than that. It's bigger than that. He's doing you a favor. I said, why do you say that? He said, Marion White said, in life, when you don't have enough courage or insight to know you have outgrown a situation and it's time to move on, life will move on you. You've outgrown this place, WVKL. There's a higher calling for you. You're going to do far more than what you're doing now in the impact that you're making in this little small community here, Columbus, Ohio. And he was absolutely right. I didn't have enough courage to quit, so Bert Charles fired me. But Helen Keller says, when one door closes, another door opens. But most of us spend so much time talking about and complaining about the closed door, we don't see the open door. Had he not fired me, I'd have never became a state legislator. Had he not fired me, I would have never gone back to Miami to fulfill a dream of buying my foster mother, my adopted mother, a home. Had he not fired me, I'd have never been paid $5 million to do a talk show in 1992 by King World. Had he not fired me, I would have never spoke in the Georgia Dome and gave a speech before 80,000 people entitled, "It's Not Over Until You Win." And so the thing is that as things are happening to us and catching us off guard and having the rug snatched out from under you, I feel like Mother Teresa, who said, Lord, I know you know how much I can bear. I just wish you would have so much confidence in me. Oh, boy. Yes.
Well, I love your message. And Mr. Williams, I want to thank him for inspiring you. And, you know, that talk that you gave at the Georgia Dome, around 80,000 people.
Oh, you saw it.
Oh, yeah. And you were doing this, going across stage, talking about how drink up, rock, drink.
Hungry. Yeah.
Drink up, rock.
Yeah.
That's the talk I send to all my friends who need like some uplifting.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And, you know, one of my mentors told me if I just get out of my own way, I could change the world. And I was resentful for a while. And it took me a while to like actually patch that up in my heart because I thought it was personal. And that's the thing this day and age is people take these motivations that we try to nudge people with gently. They take things too personal sometimes as well. And then I realized that what I do today is important. It's because I'm exchanging a day of my life for it. And when I realized that I could frame some of these sayings like you do when you talk, I could make impact on people because when you have the ability to have constant reframe and rememory and delivery, that's when people start connecting with you and they say, that guy right there, I'm going to listen to them. And that's why I think that people that are outside the chiropractic profession are starting to catch on to what we're doing with Chiro Hustle because it's cool, it's hip, it's delivered. And like you said, the content inspires people. And when you have attention, that's currency. And when you have that currency, that's delivery. And people are always looking for the delivery at the doorstep. They're like, what did I buy online today? And that's one of people's biggest hobbies right now during this downtime is what can I eat more and what can I buy more and how can it get delivered to me faster? And that's what we do with this information. This information age is our greatest currency, Les. And, you know, I also know that you have great foundations and fundamentals when it comes to your religious beliefs. And that was something I wanted to touch on with you. You talked a little bit earlier about some of your feelings and beliefs and the different holy books that you carry. but maybe you would share with some of us some of your favorite scriptures or something that really inspires you from a motivation standpoint of religion that you can recall.
Well, I'm not a religious person. They say religious people afraid of going to hell. The spiritual people have been there. I'm spiritual. And the difference between what I do and what ministers do, they preach the gospel about Jesus. I preach the gospel that Jesus preached. They sell the messenger and I sell his message. And one of the ones that I believe very much, keep thine eyes single. Why is that important? Because when things are happening, the primary reason that most people are not living the life that they should live right now, and in fact, most people die at age 25 and don't get buried until they're 65, is because they get caught up in the distractions of life. And that in order to do what it is that you are called to do, you have to discipline yourself to focus your mind, to find something that's you, something that's your calling. It's one thing to be involved in your profession. It's something else when it's in you. And the chiropractors who are able to grow their practices and they're very successful, and I've been a consultant for many of them, the first thing I do is work on their mindset. I said, you've got to believe that you are the one. That when you speak about this profession, when you speak and people are accustomed and been programmed and brainwashed to believe that the only options are to cut it out, to burn it out, and to drug it out. When you speak, you can establish yourself as a credibility source. When you speak, you will create a demand for yourself. But that won't happen until you are sold, until you decide within yourself, this is the place that I'm taking a stand with my life. And I will always work to get better. And I will always be able to speak to people and explain what it is that I do and educate them, because that's the most important part, educating them because they don't know, to dispel the myths and the fears and the misrepresentations. But most importantly, to be heard so that people will hear you in a way that they will now distract themselves from their preconceived ideas about who you are and what you do, and embrace it as an option to create health and wholeness and wellness in so many different areas. I have my grandson Honor's here. Now, who would think? And Honor loved chicken McNuggets. That's all he would eat. We took him to a chiropractor 4 days ago. My daughter did, and now Honor eats vegetables and chicken McNuggets. Before, he would just hold the vegetables in his mouth, looking like Popeye the Sailor Man. And I said, what did he do? He came back eating broccoli and everything. I said, what did he do? She said, I can't explain it, Daddy, but Honor loves vegetables now. I'll never forget when I was graduating from high school, and there was a theme that I'm sure I'm the only one that remember. And our high school theme was, you never find out how much you know until you find out how little you know. And one of the things that I love about this industry is that it's always evolving and there are new discoveries. And so when people are open to the possibilities beyond what we have come to know, I talk about in my book how I went through a tough time when I was experiencing pain from sciatica pain, and I was experiencing pain from cancer, which had eaten 40% of my T1 vertebrae, and I was afraid to go to a chiropractor because I'm accustomed to getting my neck cracked. And I said, cancer's eating 43% of your T1 vertebrae, and it's impacted the T3, 4, 5, and 7. And And so they prescribed to me opiates. I talk about this in my book. I said, we have 3 lives. We have a private life, we have a secret life, and we have a public life. And my secret life was that I had been prescribed these opiates, and my kids, they knew, they observed me, and they did an intervention. Now, I taught my kids, don't drink, don't smoke. But I had no idea. There are 2 types of drug addicts, those who are prescribed drugs and those who seek drugs. And I talk about the fact that I was prescribed these drugs, and I did not even know until my kids did an intervention with me that I was hooked on these drugs, these opiates. And then they wanted to suggest I take something called Suboxone. I ask, say, first time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me. This Suboxone, is it addictive too? They said, yes. So you're going to give me another addictive drug to get off these addictive drugs? I'm taking 75 pills a day, 25 pills 3 times a day? He said, yeah. I said, oh, hell no. I said, I do it myself. Sir, you can't do it yourself. You're 71, I'm 75 now. You can't do it yourself. You need something to help you get through this. If you are younger, 30, 35, you can go cold turkey. You can't do that. I went cold turkey. I'm stubborn. And I don't suggest this to anybody, but I did. But in that experience, what I realized is that you don't just go in and surrender yourself to someone because they have a stethoscope around the neck and a white jacket. No, you got to ask questions. It's a partnership and you're the lead partner. But I surrendered myself. I didn't ask enough questions as I do now. And this thing called life, that in order for us to be here, and being here is not a given, you have to have a game plan. And now at this place at 75, I'm asking more questions and I'm more enlightened and I'm more on top of what it is that I need to do for myself, for my family, to stay out of harm's way, social distancing from people and from the refrigerator. And I'm not coming out the house till 2027.
Well, I think it's more important now more than ever. What is one message you'd like to share with our audiences about chiropractic care, holistic care, or any kind of natural care?
First of all, I've used it and I'm going tomorrow, and I can say to them that as we look at ourselves and look at our health, we want to take options that's available to us that can educate us, that can enlighten us, and that can improve and enhance the quality of our life. And I know personally for years, it's been over 35 years for me, going to a chiropractic doctor who helped me in so many ways when I was dealing with a lot of pain and I was bent all over. And I went in and I was just saying, look, I don't want to take these pills anymore. And he said, you won't have to. And when he finished with me, he said, you can get off the table now. And I stood up straight. I said, whoa. And at that time, I was a state legislator from the 29th House District in Columbus, Ohio. I said, oh my God. And that's how I became your John the Baptist. I met somebody that hooked the brother up. Because there's nothing like cytokine. Let me tell you something. I mean, even cancer has to take a back seat to that. And I'm encouraging people to be open to the possibilities. And the other thing is, we must work on our minds and believe and to know and to hold a vision that where we are now, this will end. This will end. Quincy Jones had a song years ago entitled Everything Must Change. Nothing stays the same. And so this will end. And the next thing is, this is a time that you want to increase your skill set. Find ways in which you can make yourself stand out. Henry David Thoreau said, do not go where the path may lead, go where there's no path and leave a trail. You have technology that can help people in so many, many ways. And so the Brown family, every week, we go to see our chiropractor here, locally here in Atlanta. And the third thing is, I think it's very important for people to create collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. You can't make it in this thing called life by yourself. It's very important that we look at the relationships that we have and ask the question, what is this relationship doing to me? Am I growing mentally and emotionally and professionally and financially? Am I a better person? Am I increasing my skills? I believe you're never too old to learn, and you're never too young to teach. So at 75, I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I believe that I haven't done my best work yet. And finally, I want to encourage people to live a life that will outlive them. We're going through a reckoning right now. I have 15 grandchildren and 4 great-grandsons. And I believe the scripture that says, herein my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit. I believe that we are here because we have something special. We're chosen out of 400 million sperm, and that we're here to live a life that will outlive us. Horace Mann said we should be ashamed to die until we have made some major contribution to humankind. And I believe that we're here to make a difference, to leave our mark, to leave a legacy. And in so doing, my goal is to live full and to die empty. I told my kids that they tell you I died, don't let them embalm me for 3 days. They said, why, Dad? I said, come down to the morgue and slip a microphone in my hand. If I don't grab it and say, you got to be hungry, you can say, Dad's gone now. He's out of here.
Well, if I could share just a little chiropractic philosophy in closing to our time today, there's 3 things I want to share with you, and possibly you can bestow yourself with this knowledge. Is the number one doctor is the one inside of you. And chiropractors believe that the body needs nothing extra in it. It simply needs no interference. So when that chiropractor lit you up when you were 30, 25 years ago, it's because they removed the interference and let your body heal naturally. And that's another part about it is we believe in the chiropractic profession that the body heals from above down, inside out. And when the body is in alignment, like your talk down there at Parker, when the chiropractor is in alignment and the patient is in alignment, that means that the profession is in alignment. And that's really where we are opening the message. And my favorite question to ask chiropractors when we interview them is, tell us your chiropractic story. Because I really believe that the person that has the most value inside of that any room that you're in is the one with the best story. And it's not the person with the biggest house or the fastest car or the wife with the biggest ring. It's the person with the best story. And that's what I've always loved about you, Les. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for being with us today. And thank you for sharing your wisdom and your knowledge and your passion and your unwavering voice. And I think that that's something that most people, once they get to the top of the mountain, they think that they've made it. And that's what you said at 75. The world hasn't seen your best day yet. And I love the fact that the world has not seen your best day yet. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that are hungry for your message. And the book is You Got to Be Hungry. And go over and get that at Les's website. What's the website, Luke?
I am hungrylesbrown.com.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
hungrylesbrown.com. And I want to thank you for the work that you're doing, the people that you are expanding their level of awareness and igniting that healing force that's in them. He said, I'll never leave you nor forsake you. Greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. Thank you so much for your great work and for bringing me on. And I look forward to our having a big virtual hug.
Thank you, Les. And we'd love to have you on in the future. So if it works out, maybe we can do a part 2 with you.
We'd love to do that. All right. Thank you so much.
One request.
If you do me the honor, could you please send us off the way you end your talks?
Say it again.
Can you end the call the way you end your talks?
If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and sleep for it, if all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it, and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want, with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity. If neither cold poverty, famish or gulf, sickness or pain of body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want. If dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, with the help of God, you'll get it. This has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. It's been a plum-pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. God bless you. God bless your dream. God bless America. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thank you, Les. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Talk to you soon.
Okay. Take care, my brothers.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.